8. You know, what is an English grade from second semester really going to matter, you know, 10, 20 years down the line? Like, it really isn't. So for me, it's all about them just trying their best and pushing past boundaries, right? So, I mean, I still give grades. And so the way that we measure that typically is with math, it's usually some sort of an assessment test, right? But we also do, like, we have rubrics. So we have certain things that we say, this is what needs to be in your project or in your work. This is what I'm looking for. And if you want to be grade level, this is what you need to do. If you want to push past that, like, here's what you could do to add to that. We never tell them, like, well, if you don't want to be grade level, that's not an option, right? And we want them to always strive for grade level or push further. Now, that does not mean that they're going to always hit grade level, but so we use rubrics a lot. The rubrics are typically created by us, so we know everything that we want to hit. We look at the different standards, like, this is what they need to be doing at this time. So that's kind of how we measure their success. But I don't, you know, I mean, I don't really put a lot of pressure on it either. You know, I'm pretty lenient in my grading because it's like, they're 8, you know, they're 8. Did it make sense? It made sense. You know, I really believe that it's a matter of just getting them to put in the work effort versus the final outcome. But for a lot of people, they do have rubrics, and that is how they will measure success. You know, and I'll look at kids too. Like, if a kid had a similar project that they did and they were, like, let's say below grade level, and I saw improvement, to me, that's success, right? So I think everybody's different. Some people are very much about, like, I need this data for this and I need to see exactly how they're doing. But I was not a good test taker. I look at the effort that's put in class. Have they made an improvement from where they were? And if they do, then I say it's successful. Okay, so projects are difficult. It is a big part of our curriculum. So, you know, ideally 3 is, like, perfect in a group, right? But there are still issues with 3. So, like, sometimes one kid will just do, like, nothing, you know, and let the other 2, and they'll say, well, they're not listening to my ideas. And they use that kind of, I would say 50% of the time that's an excuse, and 50% of the time that's true, right? So 2 people will be completely on one page, and the other person will be inflexible in their thinking. And the 2 will say, well, okay, but what if we do this? And they're like, no, I want to do just, so they're very inflexible. So you will get fights, that will happen. I had a group last year where these 2 students, so they both were interested in the same topic, but they are far from friends. They do not know how to work together. It is just not enjoyable when they're paired up. Well, they picked, of course, the same topic. So I didn't pair them up, my teaching partner did. But yeah, I reaped all of the stress because my teaching partner paired them up, and then the next week they worked on it in my classroom. And I used the third person as kind of a moderator between the 2 of them, and that ended up working out, and the final project was great, right? But you will find that a lot of times. So one thing that we do is everybody has a job. So everybody has at least one thing that they have to complete in that project. So that could be that they're the person who finds all of the images, or they might be the one who does all the typing, or whatever it may be, but everybody has at least one job that they have to complete. The other thing that we do is we'll have, like, reflection. So student reflection. What worked well in my group? What didn't work well? What do I wish could have happened? What am I proud of that happened? And it gives them a chance to grade the people in their group. The grade doesn't go towards anything, you know? I might, if I know a kid has done 0 work to help out, yeah, I might then adjust their grade, because that's the biggest concern in 8-year-olds, is that equity, the fairness, right? Well, but if I did all the work and they didn't do any, is my grade gonna go down, or are they gonna get the same grade? That's not fair. So that's their opportunity to just, like, lay into the person who didn't do it, and just to, like, cathartically get it out. So that helps because it's that motivation. But I had a student that I was like, look, if you don't pull it together, I'm pulling you from the project and your grade is a 0. Like, you choose. Like, I don't care. Those are your options, like this or this. And he pulled it together, but there were bumps along the way. So, you know, I think if you tell them like you have one job to do and then you allow them to speak their mind at the end, then they know, like, going forward into groups like, hey, I have work that I have to do. And, you know, so I think that is kind of how I combat. But there are, at 8, there can be issues working in groups, but they have to learn how to do that. And I don't like to step in. I think too many people hover over kids and solve everything for them. I will step back and like almost let it be like Gladiator. Just let them like go for it, you know? And if they, you know, really can't figure it out, then I step in, you know? But I think they have to learn how to problem solve. That's an important skill. I mean, when we were kids, like, we would just go out and play. And if there were problems, your parents weren't there, you guys had to solve those, right? And kids don't have that anymore. So in class, I make them work out their differences. I don't step in too frequently unless I have to. But yeah, that's probably the hardest thing about group work with 8-year-olds. No, they're pretty good. And they have to know that you mean business too. You know what I mean? Like, if I tell my kids, like, this is my expectation and you don't meet it, then yeah, that's it. The computer goes away and you can't back down. You have to say what you mean or they won't believe you. And then when every once in a while go in and check like their emails to see what they're sending to one another, because we have all their passwords as teachers. You know, sometimes I'll write things to them, like I'll respond like, not okay. And they'll be like, why don't you see that? Anyways. So, but yeah, I think more importantly, they were so excited to be on. They don't want to lose that chance. So I really don't deal with too many kids doing the wrong thing. Sometimes, but not too often. I absolutely love teaching 3rd grade. I'm going into my 12th year of teaching 3rd grade, and I feel like now I know the curriculum so well, but I can pull in extra things. You know, when you first kind of start in a new curriculum, you're just trying to figure out what you need to do and how much time you have to do it and to just fit it all in. But as you've been in a grade longer and longer, you're able to pull in things that are, I would say, more meaningful or more interesting, more engaging for the kids. And so that's where I'm currently at. I can be a little bit more innovative because I know what I need to do and I know what will complement that. So I am really excited. I tried something new last year. So editing, writing is it's very taxing because by the time we're editing, it's usually me who's doing all the work. And by the time I've edited 27, my brain is tired. And so I needed to come up with a different system that made the kids a little bit more accountable. So I had taught like 9 different skills throughout, you know, this unit. And those 9 skills were on the rubric or on the peer editing sheet. And so what the kids did was they got together. I figured out like I had 1 high, 1 medium, 1 kind of low, or I'd have 2 mediums and a low or 2 mediums and a high. So basically the kids each had their writing that they had worked on. And instead of coming to me to edit, they sat down in a group and then each person handed their writing to the person next to them. And that person picked 1 item from the checklist. And that was the only thing they focused on. So if they said, hey, I'm really good at when there should be a period, like I'm gonna look to see that you made no mistakes with periods. And if they did, then they would write a number where the period should be or where the period shouldn't be. So if it was like number 1, they'd go through and they'd mark ones wherever the mistake was. If it was like adjectives, and let's say that was number 4, they would like go through they'd go through the read and they'd be like, ooh, you could have an adjective here. So that when the kids went back and they were looking at it, they could say, oh, I need an adjective. Oh wait, I don't know what an adjective is. Let me go ask the teacher. And then I could tell them and we could brainstorm ideas. So that was super successful. I had never done that before. And it was so great. And so they did like this round where it was like 3 people total. So they had 2 people editing, because if you give 8-year-olds a paper to edit, they can't edit their own first off. They don't see a single mistake. And their friends might say, well, no, it looks good, right? But if you say, no, I want you to specifically dig for periods, or I want you to look for contractions, that is so much more manageable. So that was super successful. I had never done that before. So that is something that I'm going to be doing from the beginning of the year this year. I didn't do it till the end of the year. So I was really excited how that came out. So I'll be doing that again, definitely.